Welcome to Let's Talk About It. Broadcasting live from North Nashville, Tennessee. North Nashville spans from Metro Center down to the border of Bicentennial Mall, including the neighborhoods of Bordeaux, Buena Vista, Parkwood Estates, Germantown, Haynes Manor, Jefferson Street, Fisk Park, Cumberland Gardens, Oak Valley, Enchanted Hill, and many others. It's perhaps best known for the 3 universities housed here, including Tennessee State University, Fisk University, and Meharry Medical College. North Nashville is also home to the Tennessee Titans practice facility. The Tennessee Titans will begin construction on an expansion project at St. Thomas Sports Park, which will almost double its current footprint in Nashville's Metro Center neighborhood. The plan includes 60,000 square feet in additions, including a new building situated along one of the practice fields, and major renovation of spaces within the existing 75,000 square foot building.
Now live from North Nashville, Dr. William Head. Let's talk about it.
Good afternoon and welcome to Let's Talk About It, coming to you from beautiful North Nashville, Tennessee, not to be confused with any city with the word North that precedes the name. North Nashville is not a city in and of itself, but a municipality within the Metro Nashville Metroplex, if you will. We are often neglected and always disrespected. Whatever's good, we get the very tail end of it. And every bad story that the news media can find in North Nashville, they rush right to it. So our public image is sometimes besmirched without reason. Lately, you've been hearing of the NLI controversy, where college athletes are now being paid very well for going to different institutions. A gentleman named Tom Mars, a lawyer responsible for putting athletes in more control of their transfer options. The problem is he sees the latest iteration of the NCAA transfer regulations as a potential disaster on its way to utter chaos. Utter chaos is absolutely unacceptable. The issue is the new alphabet soup that goes with these transfer options and recruiting options. NLI, which is the name, likeness, and image of a collegiate athlete, which he can now be paid for as a student athlete playing a sport. The other day, the head coach at the University of Georgia, Kirby Smart, made a comment about a student athlete making $110,000 a year. How in the world is he going to be able to concentrate on playing football and going to school? Well, since you don't let the kids go to school, then that's not a problem. Your graduation rate in football, even if you inflate it for African American student athletes, is probably below 15%.
Adobe Creative Cloud.
What happened? Oh, okay. The new alphabet soup, NLI, is creating a death knell for the NCAA. The NCAA is becoming completely irrelevant to collegiate athletics, as collegiate football is separated from the NCAA, so that all the institutions control the TV money that their efforts provide. the basketball coaches across the nation are now up in arms because they don't have that same level of control. You can bet your bottom dollar that it's coming. The basketball coaches are going to wrest the control of money coming through the NCAA away from that organization. March Madness will be no more. Not the March Madness that you love to watch. When the NCAA basketball coaches wrestle the control of that great tournament from the NCAA, and I see nothing wrong with it. It's free enterprise. Free enterprise. Watch and see the NCAA go into regression over the next 3 to 5 years when the lawsuits come in from youngsters whose eligibility their first year is controlled by an organization that makes more money than most corporations. And then said they are not-for-profit organization. Guaranteed that will change before long. It's kind of funny that the Republican Party has now alienated itself from another significant voting bloc. The veterans of U.S. military are up in arms because the Republicans ratified a law or a legislation that would have provided additional medical coverage for veterans who were in countries where they use burn pits. For any other reference, whatever they had that was of a trash or refuse nature, they burned, especially in Afghanistan and Iraq during the Iraq invasion. It is for certain that between the veterans, the women whose abortion rights have been abridged, black folks who are losing polling places in the states where the gerrymandering of Senate districts are like here in the state of Tennessee. Nashville used to be one senatorial district. Now it has 3 different ones. Republicans are doing everything they can to try to eradicate people of color, people of the LGBTQ community, and the control of women so that they become chattel once again like they were for 1,000 years. The answer to that is get to the poll and vote for the people who are going to support your needs. Women's rights are on the line. The LGBTQ community threatened by the Republican Supreme Court. Black folks' political power eroded by gerrymandered congressional districts and voter registration regulations passed to disenfranchise the poor and minority voters. Laws which seek to limit a woman's health care options, all of those things are on the line in the midterm election. Women, ladies, whatever you would like to be called, it's on you. In Kansas recently, they had a referendum on the state constitution, constitutions written to give women the right to have access to abortions. was upheld. There were people who were trying to take that out of the Kansas state constitution. They lost. The women stepped up in Kansas. It's time for women all over the country to get the voters out, be loud, be belligerent. Don't be violent, but be loud, be vigilant, be everything that is irritating. Bring attention to yourself. Show up and show out. All of those things. Create good trouble. That's the way you get things moving. The Supreme Court has stripped you of your rights. If you don't go and get them, it's your fault. Don't blame anybody else. It's your fault. You're 55% of the voting population. You should never lose an election. These crazy folks talking about building the wall between Mexico and the United States. Why in the world are you worried about a wall between U.S. and Mexico when people are starving to death? They don't have places to live. The folks in Kentucky are underwater. Folks in Kentucky are still trying to recover from a tornado. Now they've got a huge undertaking to overcome with this last flood. And you're talking about a doggone fence to keep people out of the country. It lost me long ago. The city of Chattanooga recently told the Hillsdale College people that King Governor for Life bills need to build a charter school in Chattanooga. Chattanooga said, no, thank you. Now take your butt on back to Michigan. And King Bill, of course, is really pissed at that situation because he has asked Hillsdale College to come to the South. He's decided that people in the South don't know how to run their own lives. The Yankees are coming. The Yankees are coming. All you folks who are used to playing Dixie at your favorite event, gonna have to start playing the battle hymn of the Republic, because King Bill is going to make sure you learn how to be a Michigander, not a Tennessean. On Saturday, you're going to have to cheer for the maize and blue of the University of Michigan rather than the orange and blue of the University of Tennessee. You're going to sing Hail to the Victors rather than good old Rocky Top. Is that what you're looking for? That's who you voted for. He's got you on the way. Is it Reconstruction again? Sounds like Brother Bill feels like the folks in the North can tell you how to live better. You're too ignorant. Your teachers don't teach well. You're taught at the dumbest schools in the country, right? Isn't that right, King Governor Bill? What you think? It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous that the governor of this state invites a private, very, very elite school from Michigan to come and set up charter schools for us ignorant folks in Tennessee. Give them the old hee-ho and tell them to kiss where the sun don't shine. It's ridiculous. What do we need Michigan folks to come? Oh, I'm sorry. They're coming south to save the South. That's the same thing that happened, 120 years ago, 130 years ago, 150 years ago. They came south to save the South. But King Governor Bill says it's okay for the president of that institution to speak on a public forum and talk about how dumb the people of Tennessee are. how dumb the teachers are, how dumb the collegiate institutions are, and how you cannot decide how to teach your children. Now they're going to bring a bunch of folks from Michigan to teach them how to be Yankees. Think about it. Think about it. Well, I get off my soapbox. My soapbox gets too high sometimes. I have to jump off and before I get thrown off. Today we have with us two gentlemen that I know fairly well from our interaction at the Ted Rhodes Golf Course, Mr. John Richardson and Mr. Robert Ted Rhodes Cooper. One of
All right.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ed.
One of you tell us about, John, tell us about you. What's your background, your history that brings you to this point?
Well, I'm a retired principal associate engineer from National Electric Service. Mr. Nathaniel Goodner is the guy that introduced me to the game of golf after I terminated coaching basketball, AAU basketball. I needed to have something to do. So Mr. Nate got me over there at the driving range and started with my sand wedge, and it's been history ever since. So, and me and Coop, it's a lot of great guys over there at Ted Rhodes that we want to recognize that could have, with the right financial backing, maybe could have made the PGA. But for whatever reason, they just didn't have that financial support. So this is where we get into our Legends Golf Organization. We just want to recognize the guys that put a lot of time and played many rounds of golf and all the history that the participants have played at historic Ted Rhodes Golf Course.
Ted Rhodes has a great history as Cumberland Golf Course before it became Ted Rhodes. Mr. Cooper, tell us about you and what brought you to this point.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me and John on your show today. So thanks for giving us the opportunity to share what we're doing in the community. About me, well, man, I can't tell it all in one show, but I'm going to start here. I am still employed, and I work full-time for the water company and in engineering as well. And what I do is water rehabilitation to get our sewers and mains up to standards. But more importantly today, we want to talk about golf in our community. I think what brought me and John together is we saw an opportunity, we saw a need, because, and you probably can attest to this too, Mr. Head, many times in our community, we all the time we hear about a lot of the negative things that go on about our people, and not enough said about positive about what we're doing. And everybody is not going to be on a level that they're going to be on national news or national media. So we felt an opportunity that we want to continue the game of golf, talk about the players in the past who have made an impact at Ted Rhodes and our community. So we decided we want to start an event. And from that, this is our second year. We'll talk a little bit more about the tournament, but an opportunity to recognize people in our community. I mean, I know you've been here a long time. You remember people like C.M. Magruder, Chet down on Jeff Street. They did a lot for our community to get us to where we are today, but we don't want to forget them. But there's also some others that made an impact too in our community that we never hear about. And there is a newspaper that circulates around the golf course. I think it comes out quarterly. It's always talking about the athletes, the golfers, what they're doing, but it's never nothing said about us. So we wanted to take this opportunity, our tournament, to recognize these golfers and people in our community as making an impact.
It's very important that we tell our own story because our story is so often put out as either we are too weak to do for ourselves or we're too aggressive to work with. We're either gangsters or we are weaklings, and opportunities to tell your own story are few for us. In reading even TV shows which have black characters have white writers, so it is it's important that we tell our own story.
Yes, sir.
The name, John, of the tournament is the Legends Golf Tournament. Tell us a little bit about how it became to be known as the Legends Golf Tournament.
Well, again, me and Cooper, it's a lot of great, and Cooper knows more of the history than I do, but it's a lot of great golf down there at Ted Rose Golf Course that can absolutely play the game. And I'm talking about my partner in crime, Mr. Ted Rose, who I'm gonna just get on him for a little bit. The guy, he has passion. Okay, Cooper has passion for the game. He loves it. He likes to teach it, and I enjoy watching him play golf. Today I was at Ted Rose to give Miss Pat Gregory my money for the Pearl High Scramble reunion next Friday. And the gentleman walked up to me and said, "Hey Cooper, how you doing?" And I looked at him like, "Man, I'm not Ted. I'm not Cooper." I said, "I'm John Richardson, but you know what? Thank you for the compliment for calling me Cooper. That means a lot. Cooper is a great guy." And I'll pass it on back. I'll pass it back to him now.
Okay. Hey, John. Well, I appreciate that. I guess we look at us from afar. We do kind of look like we got the glasses on, dark complexion. So I'll give him that.
I'm not going to go for that.
Okay. But
Coop, what? Give us another perspective on the Legends name. A lot of people, as John started to mention, there are a lot of people who have played on that golf course before it became a golf course. At least the front nine became a golf course years and years ago, when it was Cumberland Golf Course, which was on 26th Avenue North, and you very seldom saw any people other than people of color on the golf course.
Yep. Hey, well, I could
go ahead.
I can really attest to that, Mr. Ed, because I came to Ted Rose probably when I was about 19 years old, and that's over 40 years ago. I'm telling you, and so I did get to witness a lot of the great players. I got to even spend a whole day with Calvin Peake one time. He came to the Ted Rose tournament that they had annually. He came in town, and so I was a young kid, and they just afforded me the opportunity to spend a day with him. But I'm telling you, like John said, it's a lot of great players that came through here that I remember myself talking with them, playing with them, watching them play. And it brought it, full circle to me when me and John said, you know what? Let's not forget these great golfers. Let's not forget the people in the community that's keeping us going, because it is our forefathers and our ancestors and our I like to say soldiers before us that got us to this point. So we don't want to forget about it. We want our young people who don't even remember that. We want to make sure we keep the legacies alive in our community. And we chose the word legends because we believe in our community. And I had a white counterpart. He say, well, what's so legendary about you guys? Why do you want to call yourself legends? Because a legend, and I had to break it down. So I said, look, a legend is somebody who make great impact in the person in their community, in their life. And far as I'm concerned, you may not feel that way, but I feel that way. What these guys have done in the past is affording an opportunity for me to be out here on this golf course today. So that's my point. So what we wanted to do is every year, reach back and not forget those who have made big impact at the golf course at Ted Rose and our community. So last year, like, we honored, if you remember, great Charles Brooks. He's deceased, but he's one of our great golfers, man. He had the best looking golf swing you ever want to imagine. To see him play, a lot of these young kids, all they can do is hear about what we told them, but he was a great player, man. He's a great friend of mine, and I was glad to recognize him. And I hate that Lord had took him on, but his wife was there to receive that honor for him, and she was very well pleased with what we did. And another great, not only in golf, we had people like Ludi Wallace who stood toe to toe with the people in the government and say, look, we need 18 holes at this golf course. So he was very instrumental in getting us 18 holes, and we consider that legendary as far as we're concerned. So that moved us to the present day where we have 18-hole golf course. So we don't want to forget him, Grady, Richard Grady. If you come out there every week, we get the opportunity to play golf with all kind of golfers. You don't have to be good. You just have to show up and be a part of a 30-plus year event that goes on every Wednesday, every Friday at Ted Rose Golf Course.
Yes.
It's a fellowship. It's a brotherhood. Hey, man, sometimes we get to serve some food and have a good time, but it all swing forward to that tournament that was started 30-plus years out there. It's called the Buckeye Scramble. So that's another opportunity that we all get to share in year after year after year. But it took a lot to keep that going. I don't know many events. I think it's the longest standing golf scramble in this city, the Buckeye. We want to keep that tradition going by letting other people know it's there and what we're doing to keep bringing us together. So to get back to our point, so John and I and Dr. Miguel Burgess and some other John Michael Helms, we all get together and we said we wanted to start this tournament so we can keep recognizing these great legends in our community that people are forgetting about. Not only in golf, there are some people doing some great things outside of golf, but it's affecting us in our community. We won't forget those as well. And this year, we're going to honor two really good people in our community. You might know them, Coach Linda Green and Hezzy Crutcher. And I guarantee you today, you can't go nowhere in the city, not a public golf course, and say, hey, man, you ever heard of Hezzy Crutcher? Everybody's going to tell you they know of him. They may have not seen him, but they have heard him because he's been around for quite a while and made a big impact in golf in the national community. So we want to make sure we recognize him and just keep that thoughts in the back of our young people's head about golf, about those good people who have affected the game in our community.
Well, one of the things you were just mentioning, the questioning of the word legends. Legends are mostly word of mouth until they're put down on paper. And our community very seldom gets to decide who's put down on paper.
Right. Exactly.
And so anything that we can do that tells our story, from golf tournaments to history, Black History forums to anything that relates to relaying the history of our people is what we should be about.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that I liked about you and John's entry into the golf tournament business was that I know both of you to be solid citizens. Neither of you is trying to steal anybody blind. So I appreciate the honesty and the integrity that both of you represent.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The next thing to me is, how do we make this thing bigger? You told me the other day that you were relegated to only 108 golfers because of the number of carts that the golf course carries. But I quite often see a whole lot more carts show up for tournaments than just the ones on the premises.
Yes, sir.
How is that? How does that happen?
I wish I had a real correct answer for that. This is what is told to me, and there are some. I didn't do a little homework, and I think John may have looked at Metro Parks and look what they had on paper about tournaments and how many they could have. So sometimes the manager might say, try to provide an excuse like, well, because really he don't think we can produce as many players that we're trying to get to. So he might say something like, I only have so many carts I'm gonna be able to get. And I asked him, I called this year and asked him, say, look, I'm going to have, I said, what is the maximum number of carts I can get for 100? He said, how many players can you accommodate? And he said, well, I can accommodate up to 108. And I said, now, if we supersede that number, is there any way that we can get more carts? But he didn't have an answer for me at that moment. But I have seen, of course, we all see where they have this trailer come in and bring in additional carts from maybe Shelby Golf Course or somewhere else when it's needed. So I don't, at this point, see it a problem. I hope it's not a problem, but I hope it becomes a problem that we need more carts. I'm hoping that we can get to the point where we got 120 plus golfers out there. So that would be great.
I think that should be the aim of everybody associated with the tournament and all those people who play there regularly, to get as many folks to the tournament as possible. You have to push the envelope sometimes to get people to react. So if you can push the envelope, then it creates a need to react. If you don't have the requisite number, go find the requisite number. Become more aggressive in your marketing. So I talked to a guy, a month ago now, who is the co-president of the African American Amateur Golfers Association out of Louisville.
Right.
I gave that information to John, I believe, and I think maybe an alliance with him and some of his other constituents would be a wonderful thing. You guys may not be old enough to have talked to some of these guys who played on the Chitlin circuit. You ever heard?
Oh, wow.
The Chitlin.
No,
the Chitlin circuit was a loosely linked group of golf tournaments for black professional golfers, and they played in places like Omaha, Nebraska. Would you believe Omaha, Nebraska? Minneapolis, St. Paul, all over the Southeast. Barnstorming around. So it is becoming more and more evident that if we want to grow something, we've got to grow it ourselves.
Amen.
So I think yours is a first step, and if we get more active in seeking sponsorships, that will be a plus. Additionally, if the management of the golf course can see it as important enough to appeal to you to continue to use this golf course, since it belongs to the city and all of us are taxpayers, there shouldn't be any difference in how people are treated. So I'll leave that right there. Coop, you've been playing like Bennett, Ted Rhodes for, like you said, 40 plus years. Who are the best players that you've seen come through there outside of the pro golfers that frequented Nashville when Cumberland Golf Course was the place to go? Who are the greatest local legends of golf that you know of?
We sometimes have a conversation about that at Ted Rhodes, and we get into this conversation. But the name of Charles Brooks, Hezzy Crutcher, Doc Dennis, Puddin Brooks. Yeah. You know what? Thinking of him, I always heard so much about him. He kind of got sick or something about the time I started playing a lot of golf. But he came around, man, and first thing they did is say, Cooper, we've been talking about Puddin Brooks. We're going to let you play with him. And he had played golf, and I don't know when, but I got to play 9 holes with Puddin Brooks, man, to see him swing. It was awesome, man. So I know he wasn't in rare form, but I can see the talent, man. And there was so much said about that guy, man. He never got that opportunity, but.
Well, see what maybe we need to do in the near future, maybe at this particular tournament, is ask people to write down in order maybe the top 10 golfers to ever play Ted Rhodes and compile that for the next year and make it an annual event. And that creates history right there, because now you have something written to go along with the verbal history that we already have, and then you can cover the cover of your program with names of the legends that have preceded this time. So
yes, sir.
That just a thought. You just made me think of it. But if we put it in writing. Yes. It becomes, so as Ramses said in the 10 Commandments, so it be written, so it be done. So we'll talk about something a little more current.
Okay.
I'm sure as golf enthusiasts, you have watched the battle between the LIV and the PGA, and of recent Mickelson got suspended for an indefinite period of time. What do you think about that situation, John?
I'm glad you asked that question. That is a great question. This is where I look at it. This is about the have and have nots. You're talking about guys that's already got money, that are multimillionaires, and they're going to get what? More money, right?
Yep.
Notice that the only person, African American, that they won't is Tiger Woods. They don't want Harold Varner. Harold Varner has nothing to offer them. So, in a enterprising situation, we're talking about business now. It's all about making money, okay? And I tell you what I like LIB to do, and I was talking to Ms. Pat Gregory and Harry Gilmore. If they really want to do something for us, how about taking all the multi-millions of dollars from the Saudi Investment League or whatever this thing Greg Nome's getting his money, and invest that money in the HBCUs. How about that? Give back in that matter.
I like the idea.
Send money to the Legends Golf Organization, so we can get more money in the community, to these schools and our kids. So that's my point on LIV versus PGA.
What about you, Coop? What do you think about the PGA and LIV?
You know, when I think of, you know, I'm just now starting to really get into the understanding what's going on. When I first heard about try to do a little bit of homework on that LIV, and that's a Roman numeral for what is it, 54 holes. I think Roman numeral for 54. So they started this tour off, and it's an opportunity for some people. It may be a setback for some others.
Right.
Some of your great names may be defecting for the money. Then you got certain great players want to think they're going to lose their legacy and tarnish the PGA Tour. But I feel like it's a good thing. Then people might say, "Oh, Cooper, you think it's a good thing?" Well, the reason I think it's a good thing because the PGA has had almost like a monopoly on the golf game.
Yes.
They only allow 125 players on that tour every year. All the golfers in the world, but only 125 golfers can play on their tour. Then they make astronomical amount of money, and they're not really giving it back out. And if you notice about golf, it's all economic. You talk about Varner, Tim, it's a guy named Tim. What's Tim down in Atlanta? These guys are really good. Bobby Strobel, all the Jesse Allen, all these guys come through. They never had an opportunity because of the money. So here's another tour. They may have missed their opportunities, but here's another tour that's trying to come into existence. I welcome the NBA is on the other side of the world with China. They got leagues over there. They're coexisting. They're making it work. I don't know why the PGA getting so bent out of shape about somebody want to start another tour that's going to provide more opportunities for more players. It's enough players, but it's not enough leagues for these players. So we need something like that. And so they won't have what they call a monopoly on the on the pro golf circuit. So I welcome it. I don't know the logistics of it or how things should evolve. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of legal stuff that got to happen. But don't get upset when a player decides he wants to go over there and go after some cash money. Well, that's the reason guys on the PGA Tour, they want cash money. These guys, just because they're providing another avenue to get money. Now the problem is with the PGA Tour, I believe, is they're shocked to the point where they think their tour is going to get tarnished or something, or their tour is not going to be the main tour in golf anymore. But they have, but I think as time goes on, the water's going to level out, and these tours going to be able to coexist together and provide more opportunity for professional golf. If you look at it around, Coach, we got 2 or 3 football leagues. We got baseball with leagues all around the world. We got soccer leagues all over the world. We got different stuff. What's wrong with golf being professional at that level? I don't see any problem with it right now. I think they'll work out the shock of it all and work together. And I think these tours going to be able to exist and get past that legal point of what's going on now. The players are this antitrust issue. When they get through working all this out, I think it's going to be good for golf. Yes.
I am tickled pink, if you will, by the fact that the PGA's rationale for being, if you will, aggressively against LIV is that they're saying that LIV is buying golf. Now, the thing is that golf in this country has been a country club dominated set. They have always been able to pick and choose and decide who does and who doesn't. sort of like Major League Baseball's minor league teams. People are chosen not based on their skill, but based on whether or not they fit a particular group or particular perception. I think the other thing is that the people that are running this LIV league, people of color, and the Saudis are not even about this chump change that the PGA is talking about. When you take a guy and tell him you're going to pay him $125 million and tell him if you come over and play with us, we're going to pay you this kind of money. I'm going to ask, when is the first boat? Matter of fact, I'm going to charter a boat so I can get there as quickly as I can. The thing that is so ironic is that the whole thing is about, as John said a few minutes ago, about money. If it's about money, then it's competition, and the free market nature of this country says if you can do it better, do it better. If you can make it work better than me, make it work. Come on, let's compete. But now they want to pole mouth the whole thing. Well, they're trying to steal golf. Well, when did it become yours in the first place?
Exactly.
The wonderful thing about this situation is the golfers get to make decisions now whether or not to take all of this money, and the Saudis have mountains of money. They got money. They're trying to pay folks so they don't have so much just laying around. They're getting nothing out of all that oil money they make every day. $1 billion a day in oil that they ship other places. The greatest reserve of crude oil on earth. And why in the world do we not have all the comforts of home and all of the stuff that we don't have? So I am enthused about that Saudi golf league. What happened to Mr. Cooper? He got lost. He must have hung up his phone.
No, something. It said my time was up or something. I don't know why. It timed me. I'm
timed you out
right now.
Okay.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't know.
Okay. Well, you can still talk. We can hear you.
Yes, sir.
John, tell us about the date, time, and everything about the golf tournament. Make sure everybody can hear that, so that if they're not going to play, they can come and support the effort anyway.
Yes, we'll have the tournament August 20th and 21st at Ted Rose Golf Course, and we have a deadline of August the 13th. We want everybody to see me or Mr. Cooper, and we have a cash app. We have that you can pay your fee, and we just want to have a great tournament. We had a fantastic outing last year, and we just want, regardless of your skill level, we definitely want women. Let me emphasize this.
Please, thank you.
Playing golf. We need women. We need women playing golf. Please come and sign up and play. So we just want to keep this thing growing and going. So we always look for financial support. What we do comes out of me and Cooper's pocket, and we have some other people, Doc Burgess, some others that invest in this thing. So, and my goal, our goal, hopefully, and I'll end on this. I would love to have a professional division for the Legends Golf Organization. That's one of my biggest dreams. To see some of the most talented African American players from all over this country come to Ted Rose and train a 2-day tournament. Man, that would be absolutely fantastic.
Well,
Thank you for this interview. Thank you.
we need to find all the other groups of African American golfers that are out here and find a way to get them interested. With that, we will close with my final departure. Ladies and gentlemen, we have gone a few days now without any multiple fatality shootings. I pray that it continues that way. I hate that I have to bring it up, but I want you to still find safe places to tell your children to go to if something jumps off. And maybe I shouldn't say jumps off, happens. If something happens and your child is further than arm distance away, do you know how to put your hands on them quickly? School resumes Monday.
Okay.
School resumes Monday. You need to have a place for your children to go where you can go and find them if you need to. Please, pretty please, make sure that you can find your children. In the mass shooting up in Illinois a couple of months ago, a little boy lost his mother and his father in a split second. He became an orphan from having two parents to becoming an orphan in a split second because some young man was disgruntled about the way he's been treated, about the way his mother treated him, how his father treated him. Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that if your child goes to the mall, but there are no malls anymore, if your kids go to the theater, that you know where they are and that you can get to them.
Yes.
And lastly, in closing, as always, I quote the late Reverend Dr. Dale P. Andrews, one of the great speakers and practitioners of the Christian faith. I have more questions than answers, more problems than solutions. From these gifts, I freely share. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and have a great weekend. This has been Let's Talk About It, and I'm your host, William Head.